Well, I've been looking. There are plants that are made resistant to insects. You have, for example, the BT cotton, which they use in India, and the maize, which they use in America. Those are resistant to the insect plagues that cause problems with those plants. But in terms of locusts, I've not seen anything of yet. That may be
But
in the
maybe it may come
that
up.
may be in the pipeline. But I think, but dealing with locusts, I think, would be much more difficult, really.
Dealing with the locusts.
Mm. To find to create a plant that's resistant to a locust.
That's what has happened. Several plants have been engineered according to certain disease or a certain plague or a certain weevil. They say, this is resistant from this weevil, this is this. But again, look at the human health. You realize that it causes harm to humanity.
Because if you look at the banana wilt, you'll find that they're trying to bring in the banana plant, the GM banana plant into Uganda. I think they're saying by 2022 they want to introduce. It's only this GMO bill that is causing a problem to those people, and it's the farmers
But it has
themselves.
not yet caused a problem because things are still existing. The GMO foods are still moving up and down. Supermarkets, So
but to bring
the impact is not yet really
bring
there.
it in officially. That to bring that law into effect officially will mean a greater increase of GM products coming to the country or the use of GMO seeds. Because like the GMO banana plant is not yet official. People may be growing it somewhere, but once it becomes official, then people can just buy it more freely. Even cassava is also a concern for farmers. Farmers are petitioning. I think it was November or August or November, they petitioned the president, appealing to him to assent to this GMO bill because they want to introduce the GM cassava because there's a form of wilt, cassava mosaic they call it, that it's affecting cassava farmers in the north, and they want to bring in the new so-called new GM crop that they can reap their benefits, so-called financial benefits. So they're appealing to the president to bring in this bill so the GMO will be official and they can start using. There's also GMO maize which is being grown in just outside Kampala. There's a place. It's guarded. It's fenced off, but they're experimenting.
But the
with
main
GMO
reasoning
maize.
that they give is about that they are resistant from.
They're resistant. They bring better.
That's what they say,
they
which
bring,
is not right.
And they supposedly bring better yield.
Better yields, no. I doubt that.
No, there's tests. There are reports or research to be shown that that is not true. They do. They may bring a better yield for 1 or 2 seasons, but then you can see that there's a decline. The yield begins to decline.
The word better. How do you look at that? How do you understand that word better yields? Because when you talk about better yields, I believe the test, the numbers, and the resistance should be.
Should be the proof of better use.
So when you look at the test, it's not right.
No, in the testing stage, because
the test
what I've just been reading about the GMAs, for example, they have 2 plots, one with the GM and the non-GM. The GM plot the non-GM plot is showing maize plants which are wilting. They look very diseased and whatever. And next to it, you have the GM maize plots with the plants they're looking fine, they're looking well.
The GM looks well, then the other one is looking. Those are ways of attracting farmers to get to the GMO. But the real proof is that what we were using years back, our fathers, our grandfathers, was the best. Because I told you, we look at the test, we look at the numbers, we look at.
The thing with GMO products like the maize and maybe the cassava is the initial stages of planting. It may look fine. It may look fine, but when you move on to future seasons, you find that even the yield starts to decrease, the quality starts to decrease. And most people are suspicious about GMO plants because they don't know how that GM experimentation is going to affect the plant in the long term, and how that plant will affect the humans that are eating it in the long term. The type of, because when you splice a chromosome and you implant a foreign genetic element in there, just to make this plant resistant to something. Injecting that genetic element also causes other changes in the plant. It rebalances the chemical structure of the plant. And you're now going to eat that plant, you don't know how that plant is going to affect your health. It may not affect it in the short term, in a few weeks or a few months, but over a longer period of years.
And that's why our argument was that why should you eat something you don't know then?
And that's the argument that people are using.
Yes.
The people who are against GMO products are using that. In the long term, you don't know the problems that it's going to cause. And there have been experiments to show that it can cause problems later on. So these experiments, these reports are ignored by the mainstream.